to you?
Who else were you expecting?
Well, bust my boiler.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I really don't know how to introduce this video. I mean, the last DVD review left on a kind of a hopeful note, but I don't really know how to transition into your favourite story collection. So, here's the history. Your Favourite Story collection was released on the 20th of November 1995 and was made to commemorate 50 years of the Railway series. Each episode was introduced by a different child who told the viewer about their favourite episode. The VHS featured 6 episodes from the first season, 3 episodes from the second season, 1 episode from the fourth season, and 1 song from the fourth season called Really Useful Engine. The cover for this release is absolutely stellar and is uber eye candy for a child. The main part of the cover features a lovely image of Thomas from Paintpots and Queens, which strangely isn't on the release. The cover also features some images of some kids with some of the ugliest haircuts I think I've ever seen. Like, for real, what kind of neglective parents let their own offspring look like that? Like, bro, they're looking like Ziggy from Lazy Town, bro, what the fuck? The Thomas logo on the front cover has this really nice shine to it that makes it stand out when comparing it to other releases. The last notable thing on the front cover are some head-on illustrations of James, Gordon, Thomas and Henry by Owen Bell that admittedly look really nice. The spine is nothing special and the back cover is a little disappointing. It's just a load of text and the Owen Bell illustrations either side of it. The back cover really could have used some images from the episodes on the release to make it seem more enticing and actually interesting. This is something that the US releases greatly succeeded in. Anywho, let's get into it. After a compilation of kids speaking literal gibberish, like, my guy, what are you saying? We get to the first episode of The Sad Story of Henry, which is introduced by Jonathan, a kid who looks 5 years old and 40 years old at the same time. The Sad Story of Henry is arguably the most notorious episode of Thomas history, and for one reason. People not doing research. People just assume that Henry never got let out and that's the end of him, even though he gets let out in the very next episode. The episode itself is alright. It's nothing special, and if anything, it's a bit boring. But hey, that's season 1 for you. The narration from Ringo is alright, but I personally prefer George's as he's just got more charisma. The episode gets a 6 out of 10. Edward, Gordon and Henry, which is introduced by Mark, who seems to have some Thomas tapes of his own, so respect to him. Edward, Gordon and Henry is a vast improvement over The Sad Story of Henry, mainly because it simply has more action. The Sad Story of Henry was just constant talking and nothing exciting happened. This episode has something going for it. It strengthens all 3 characters in the story, and that is something that's not very easy to do in such a short runtime. Like I've mentioned many times before, I'm not a huge season 1 guy. However, there are a few exceptions on episodes that I can thoroughly enjoy, and this episode is definitely one of them. 7 out of 10. Next up is Thomas Goes Fishing, which is introduced by Abby. Abby clearly has a great taste in episodes, as this is once again one of season 1's best. The episodes that take place on Thomas's branch line are almost always the best ones. I don't know what it is about this episode, but there's just something about it that's just really cozy. It might be the great sets, or it could be because I like to watch the VHS versions of season 1, as the restored versions look horrific. And the VHS look of season 1 covers up the low budgetness of the season. The music in this episode is fantastic too. Mike and Junior really outdid themselves in essentially everything they did for Thomas. Also, it's gotten to the point where I need a bit of variety in my life. Too much of one season is bad for you, and unfortunately this release doesn't care, as we've got another 3 season 1 episodes to go, one after another. But don't worry, I've got a special someone to come in and help me out to make sure you don't get bored, so stay tuned. Next one is Thomas Terrence in the Snow, which is introduced by Jake. This release is actually really lucky, as while it has 6 season 1 episodes that play one after another, 5 out of 6 of the season 1 episodes on the release are the season's best. I understand having the episodes in chronological order as it makes the most sense continuity wise, but when you're doing something like that, don't have 6 of the 10 episodes on the release be from the same season. Where's the season 3 episodes? Where's more season 4 episodes? Jesus, at least have some variety. Anyway, Thomas Terrence in the Snow is decent. Not amazing, just decent. Seeing season 1 sets with snow on them is an absolute treat and a very refreshing sight, and it makes this episode a hell of a more exclusive. And also, this episode introduces Terrence, the character who appears like once until season 6 where he fucked off after 40 whistles. This episode was also notable enough to have a song based on it. What a missed opportunity it was to have it included after this episode. It would have given the release that little sizzle of variety that it really needed. The episode gets a 7 out of 10, it's pretty darn good. Next up is Percy Runs Away, which is introduced by Julian. Percy Runs Away is a fantastic episode. The episode ticks all the boxes for a fantastic story that develops a character. At this point in the series, Percy was a little He got away with way too much and needed to be put in his place, and this episode does that perfectly. The sets are great, the models are fantastic, the narration from Ringo and George are fantastic, and the music is top notch as always. 7 out of 10. Now, I'm going to hand you over to someone from the other side of the pond, and they're going to show you the US version of this release, and I ain't going to lie, their one is probably better. Take it away, James.
Hello, everyone. James is here. Laugh. 10 Years of Thomas was released on the 14th of September, 1999, to coincide with the 10th anniversary of Thomas in America. If it wasn't already obvious by the fucking title. Now, this release is actually one of my favorite releases of all time. The collection of episodes on here are great, and the intermissions between each episode are super charming, including kids who talk about their favorite Thomas episodes at a Day Out with Thomas event, which then transitions into the episode the kid was just talking about. My favorite intermission is the one with Tommy in it. I never had Tommy as a kid, so this was super fascinating to me. Oh look, it's James. Oh my god, the spiral. Oh my god, that thing is so cool. Yeah, I'm getting off track, aren't I? Yeah, let's move on now. The kids talking about the episodes is very similar to how Story Collection does it, but instead of it being at a Day Out with Thomas event, the kids are in a living room filled with Thomas merchandise, and also they show the kid's name. Like I said before, the episode choices are awesome, although they don't show them in air date order, which messes up the continuity. The worst example of this being that Thomas and Bertie's Great Race is the first episode on this release. In this episode, Bertie remembers Thomas for being the engine who got stuck in the snow, and Terrence had to pull him out. And then 3 episodes later, we watch Terrence the Tractor, the episode in which Thomas gets stuck in snow and Terrence has to pull him out. But honestly, who cares? It doesn't really matter that much. Funnily enough, Terrence the Tractor is the only episode that was also on Your Favorite Story Collection. They were also both the 4th episode on the release. Strange. Anyways, something I'm guessing that Sean's gonna be pretty pissed about is that 10 Years of Thomas has 5 season 3 episodes, and Your Favorite Story Collection has 0. Ha! Also, 10 Years of Thomas has an exclusive music video. Sure, it's just Thomas's anthem with the first verse cut out and different footage, but still, it's a nice addition. Speaking of that music video, this release has a few weird goofs that I want to talk about. The first one has to do with this music video. This music video appears on both the episode selection menu and its very own menu by itself. Weird, right? Also, both Henry and the Elephant and James Goes Buzz Buzz have the wrong titles. On the back cover of the release, Henry and the Elephant is called Henry the Elephant. Yeah, I don't want to see Henry as one either. Also, James Goes Buzz Buzz is referred to by its UK title, in its title card, and on the DVD menu. It's like this release wants to have its cake and eat it too. Overall, I think 10 Years of Thomas is better, and yes, I'm biased. Bye.
Down the Mine, which is introduced by Hannah. Thankfully, this is the last season 1 episode on the VHS, so we're nearly there. And did season 1 go out with a bang? You bet it did. I don't really have much else to say about Down the Mine other than it's just a good episode. I love the simple crash, and the banter between Thomas and Gordon is top notch. It is annoying though how its direct sequel didn't air for another 10 years, and when it did, it included characters that didn't even appear until season 2. Other than that little nitpick which doesn't even have anything to do with Down the Mine, it's more of an issue with Paintpots and Queens. The episode is fantastic, and I'm glad season 1 ended on a good note on this release. 8 out of 10. Season 2 now, in which we start off with a close shave, which is introduced by James. And my god, what a way to start off with. This episode is amazing. While I do think you should probably never include only one episode from a 3-episode arc on a VHS or a DVD release, I can look over it with this one, as the episode gives you a brief summary of what happened previously. Something else I love about this episode is Ringo's narration. Yes, George is alright, but he doesn't bring that sheer rush and urgency that Ringo does. This is by far the most intense runaway of the show, and the stakes are very high. With a lot of runaway trains, they almost always would just crash into the buffers or a pond, etc. But with this one, Duck's reputation is on the line for a lot of the engines, and even for the Fat Controller, which makes the situation even more dire. Like I said before, this was a great way to kick off the season 2 episodes on the release. 10 out of 10. Next is Thomas Comes to Breakfast, which is introduced by Declan, an absolute classic. If you've seen my ranking videos of the seasons, you'll know I love season 2. There's something about it that's just so nice. It might be the lighting or something, I really don't know. The episode has been spoken about to death, so I don't really have much else to say about it, to be honest. It gets a 9 out of 10 for me. I love it. Capping off season 2 is Thomas and the Missing Christmas Tree, which is introduced by Christopher. Thomas and the Missing Christmas Tree is one of those rare episodes that I just simply never saw as a kid. And was I missing out? Kinda. I'm not going to praise this episode and call it the best thing ever, as there's better Christmas episodes out there. Thomas and Percy's Christmas Adventure is by far better. But does that mean it's bad? Of course not. It's still a great episode with a lot of charm and some unintentionally funny moments. Eight out of 10. And to cap off the release, we have Special Funnel, which is introduced by Billy. Special Funnel is gorgeous. Story-wise, there's not much to speak about, but visual-wise, it oozes with UK vibes. The UK is notorious for being one of the most harsh places when it comes to the weather, and this episode reflects that perfectly. Also, this may sound quite odd, but Angela sounds like he has a bit of a cold in this episode, and it sells the episode's atmosphere even more, as it's very common to get colds in that type of weather in the UK. Special Funnel is just so good. It's the most immersive Thomas episode of all time, and it's by far the most breathtaking. I'll always love all at seeing Henry's Forest, but I couldn't think of a better episode to end off this release. It really, really hits home. And that's it. Now, the question is, do I recommend the release? Here we go. As a collector, it's a fantastic item. It's a milestone for the franchise, and it's somewhat of an essential. But if you're not a collector, it's kind of pointless. The episodes are on plenty of other releases, and I'm not gonna lie, the segments in between the episodes really drag out the release, and they mess with the pace of the VHS. And that's not the only issue. It's got way too many season 1 episodes, no season 3 episodes, and nowhere near enough season 4 episodes. It's really not as good as people say it is. However, if I recommend It's Great to Be an Engine, by law, I have to recommend this one. So I recommend it. How did we go from this to this? Like, no.
Yeah, they can't hold us back, we on another level. Yeah, it's that new age, ain't it something special? Yeah, we gon' change the game, we gon' live forever. Yeah, it's that new age, it's that new age. This is the new age. Now they wanna play cause they're tryna get paid.